to the live stream. Sorry about that. Update messed with the things again. Can't even say it did anything to the music. This time, for whatever reason, the program I used for music didn't take my play button when I hit play on the music. Gotta love that. So good afternoon and welcome to Stream in Terror. If you're watching this live, I do have a poll up there for you guys to say what you would like me to read. So far, it's Glitch in the Matrix, which, funny enough, is also what's coming out tomorrow. So, if you guys want Glitch, I can do glitches. It's gonna be lots of Glitch in the Matrix stories then. And also, good afternoon, Sydney. And good afternoon, General, as well. So, I'll start with like a shorter story first, as we just let people get in. And I will, of course, do some Glitch in the Matrix stories. I just don't have that many right now, actually. I'm a little low on glitches, sadly. They're, weirdly enough, a very hard one to get your hands on. But they're so popular, everyone really loves them, so. Okay. Where is it? I am blind. Tiny stories, yay. I mean, I always have tiny stories. So, let me see here. Let's go with this one here. Go with a... I'm blind. Ah, here it is. Sorry, my voice isn't completely, thank you. I just want my spooky, sounds to kind of give the nice background, for the live stream. And my stuff on my videos is something made specifically for my channel, so it makes it unique and stand out. And yeah, my voice isn't completely back yet, so I do have a little bit of problems with it still. I got some kind of nasty cold or something, and it took my voice for quite a few days, and then it's still been cracky and stuff since then, so. Which really sucks. I hate it. But okay, now I can read off of that. Okay, perfect. Okay. Is this normal behavior? By Woe7592. So, a little background. My friend and I decided at 10 p.m. we would park our car at this park. It's usually pretty safe, and we've been there many times, sometimes by ourselves. I'm a 5'7" dude and my friend's a 5'2" girl. Usually we just sit there and talk or listen to music. This particular night, though, we had parked somewhere in a darker area, which is pretty typical. Keep in mind that this parking lot is pretty big, and there's already about 6 to 7 cars there. I'm in the driver's seat and my friend is diagonal across from me in the back seat. I noticed a guy parked maybe 6 spots away from my car. The man gets out and casually checks out my car. He starts walking through the parking lot a bit, visibly getting closer, but eventually veers off. I think nothing much of it. Until 15 minutes later, he comes back, but this time closer than before, and this time visibly trying to see inside. My friend is trying to calm me down, letting me know there's nothing to worry about. He eventually gets back into his car. At this point, I'm kind of keeping my eye on him. When he gets into his car, he backs out and parks right next to another car, only to get out and scoop inside that car as well. He gets back into his car and then parks right next to us. Keep in mind, this parking lot is huge and there is plenty of empty spots. At this point, my friend is aware. We both are staring daggers into this man, and he's looking at us, looking away, and then looking back at us, looking away until he turns off his car. He gets out of his car right outside the door my friend is at and just stares at us. Both of us are so confused and obviously creeped the fuck out. He was kind of older and completely by himself. While he was staying out there, he was shuffling about with a big smile on his face, never breaking eye contact. He gave us a very weird wave, almost non-visible. At this point, it's been 3 minutes of us just having a weird-ass staring competition. Keep in mind, our body language and facial expressions should have been more than enough for this guy to know we did not enjoy his presence. My friend is feeling a bit uncomfortable, so I start dialing the police. I want to roll the window down to let him know, but my friend didn't want to provoke him. So we ended up backing out of the lot, in which shortly after he pulled out and left. We got his plates and reported to the police, but so fucking weird. Anyone have an explanation on this behavior? What was he doing? Okay, apparently nope, you're gone. Yeah, I still got something, like my throat's still having problems. It's gotten way better though. Yeah, alright. Let's go to... We'll go to my glitch stories then. Alright. Missing Item in Plain Sight by Kaylee84. I work at a mom with our own little cafe. We've had this ongoing joke whenever things get misplaced and the previous owner has been in and taken them for the night. We honestly, of course, don't believe that. As long as we had the place, everyone that works there has always commented, "Oh, I thought I heard someone walk in then, but there isn't anyone there." Sometimes all of us will look up to the front of the shop at the same time, thinking someone was there when there isn't anyone. This happens at least once a day, but usually multiple times a day. Back to the misplaced items. This happens a lot at the moment, as in specific knives that we only use for certain tasks just go missing and then turn up days later on the side. Now, I know things can hide in plain sight and sometimes you can't see for things, but this is becoming really, really frequent now. It's not as though we put them back in the wrong place and then find them. We find them in plain sight after days of items being missing, and then it appears in an area that's been heavily used by one of us. And it's been thoroughly cleaned down at the end of the day, so if it was ever there, it would have been put away. It's so odd, but the frequency of this is becoming a little frustrating now. One of the ladies that works with us has made comments today that it must be a gremlin working behind her moving everything. This lady has worked with me for over 2 years, and she is commenting about it also. I haven't mentioned anything at all to her, and she works opposite shifts of my mother, so they haven't spoken about it either. Also, a full panini machine went missing. We got a new one and stored the old one away just in case something ever happens to the new one, then we have a backup. I'm the only person with the key apart from my mom, but mom wasn't in the country at the time. It reappeared about 3 or 4 months later in the exact same spot it had been stored in, but no one could find it for months. My mom thought I had thrown it away and was lying to her. I'm not sure if this is relevant, but since the shop was open 19 years ago, it's had 3 previous owners, me and my mom being the 4th. 2 of the 3 previous owners have died whilst owning the cafe, and a lady we bought it off that sold it to us became terminally ill with cancer. Anyway, any thoughts or ideas of what this could be? Especially the ideas to make it stop would be extremely appreciated. I am getting much better though, so I'm quite happy about that. Alright, there's a glitch for ya. I can, this one's quite long. So we'll switch to a different genre. I'll go with paranormal. Sorry if you hear anything in my mouth. I got a lozenge in my mouth just to help a little bit with the problem. I'm just taking it out whenever I go to read for you guys. Let's go with how long is this one? Okay, this is a bit longer. Creature in the Woods by Normie Americana. There we go. Sorry, it's one big word, so I gotta figure out where you break things up. So please bear with me while I explain this. I have a feeling it'll be a bit long, but the context here is important. So this happened about 4 years ago. I used to live in a very rural part of NC. North Carolina, I believe, in the Tread/Foothills area. I was about 17 at the time. My house was in the woods about a football field's length away from the road, which wasn't a major one, just a back road. We did have neighbors on either side that were pretty close, separated by maybe 10 yards and some trees, but at other sides there were a few acres between us and the nearest house. Behind our house was an acre and acres of woods and fields. There were also a pond down there, and that is important later. Now, to the encounter. So, we had a dog at the time, and he had a lot. We put him in at night to sleep in. It was nestled in this very edge of the woods, about 100 feet from our house. It was about 7 to 9 at night, and it was winter, probably January or February. I don't remember exactly, but I do know the holidays were over. I was taking our dog out to the lot. I had his metal food bowl in one hand and the phone in the other. I got about halfway to the lot and felt weird. I did freak myself out taking him out sometimes, so this wasn't particularly extraordinary. So I shined my flashlight on the edge of the woods near his lot where it slopes down a little and was further into the woods. When I did this, I saw 2 glowing white eyes looking back at me. They were about 3 feet to 3.5 feet off the ground. My mind deliberated if it could be a squirrel or a small animal, so I immediately yelled for our dog, dropped his food bowl, which made an extremely loud racket, metal on concrete, and ran in. I came in freaked out, saying I saw something in the woods and I was not going back out. My mom said I was being dramatic and that it was probably deer and said she'd go with me. I felt very confident about the racket I made whatever it was, it would have left, and so we went with her to take him back out. We walked out and I shined my light to where the eyes were, and the eyes were still there, just as bright and staring right at us. I shined my light to where the eyes, my mom got freaked out and we ran inside again. She came in and told my stepdad I was right and was freaking out, saying there was a man just sitting down there in the woods. My stepdad then went out there with a real flashlight and a gun, and he followed. He shined it back in the spot where the eyes were, and he yelled, "Hey!" real loud. This is when I got the best look at it. The eyes were 100% about 3 to 3.5 feet off the ground. It was staring right at us and then walked sideways, not breaking eye contact, very fluently, and then went off into the woods. We never heard a sound, no leaves breaking, no twigs snapping, nothing. Never saw anything like it since, and every time I took my dog out, I never saw anything like that again, despite checking like every time. Some follow-up stuff to this. Before anyone asks, I don't know how my dog was acting at the time. I was too scared to pay attention to it. I don't know if he would sometimes. He would sometimes eat possums and skunks. They'd fall into his lot and would bark at other stuff like deer and foxes. The whole encounter, he was silent and ran inside with us and stayed close to us. The land behind the house is almost certainly a native land. Way behind the house, up the hill, overlooking a pond, or stones in the ground. About 2 to 3 were marked on them. With certainty, I can say that the inscriptions are old and are definitely a form of writing. They're very weathered, not fresh at all, and are preciously drawn lines with parallel and equal spaces between markings. We've also found arrowheads in the area. We jokingly call it the Indian burial ground, but from my research, and natives in North Carolina rarely practice burial like this with headstones, so I'm not sure what it is, but I'm pretty certain it's native and it's not older. The pond, I always got a weird vibe down by the pond fishing anyways. It was a natural pond / spring, but my stepdad turned it into a large pond when he had cows and stocked it with fresh fish. There was a large slope that you have to walk down surrounded by baby pine trees, and on each side there's a small circle area right before you go down the hill to the pond, and in this clearing we used a lot of bones. I mean, a lot. There's like 3 to 4 piles of fish and skin and snake bones neatly in a pile, normally all missing the head part. This pond is not too close to where I had the encounter. It's closer to the other side of the property, but still on our property. Crowhead. Back in this area where I got the weird vibes, my stepdad had an old fence post separating his land and the neighbors. It's all overgrown fields / pastures on the other side and straight woods on the other. The neighbor did come back here sometimes, but normally just to ride ATVs. Anyway, one day in the summer, I went back there. My friend and I were in the very back line of the property. Was a crow's head stuck on the fence. It was super freaky, and we dipped. Now, I've seen this before at my grandpa's house. This time, though, that time when I saw it, it was on a fence post around his garden, and he told me you do that if a crow eats your garden and they'll stray away. However, when I saw it at our house, it had never been a garden anyway near the fence post or close to the area at all. I'm posting this story mainly because I'm curious what you guys think it is. I can assure you this creature wasn't any small critter like a squirrel or raccoon or even a deer. I've debunked these myself because the eyes were too big and too high to belong to any small critter, and a deer would 100% have run away after all the racket and noise was made by my stepdad yelling. We see deer routinely, and they're very skittish as their prey animals. The only animal I think it could have been is a black bear, mountain lion, or bobcat. I lean more towards the feline because it moved extremely fluidly and smooth. The issue with that is that mountain lions aren't found in North Carolina, and bobcats are native but would be too small to fit the height of the eyes. A black bear is possible, but also very, very rare to find in this area that I live in, and you find them mostly in the mountains. Also, I would think a black bear would make much more noise like a grunt and not move as fluidly. It's a small community, and everyone knows everyone pretty much, and everyone in the area hunts. There's a lot of game trails and out there, and usually when someone spots something out of the ordinary like bobcat, bear, or big buck, it's all talk of the town, and no one mentions seeing something weird in the area at the time. Curious what you guys would say about this encounter. I added the information about the native land, crowhead, and the pond to increase those are sites of cryptids, and that it could be useful to identify it as it's paranormal. It could be completely coincidental and not related, just thought it would be a potentially important. Thank you so much for reading this far, and I look forward to the feedback. Feel free to ask any questions as well. Hello, September Dragon. Welcome. And welcome back, General. Alright. Well, I already did one creepy encounter as well, and that's paranormal. Just hold on. I can do another creepy encounter. They're pretty. I got lots of those. It's the glitch in the matrix that's the hard part. Okay, we'll go with another creepy encounter, or Let's Not Meet, which I think this one is the Let's Not Meet. The Lady at My Door by CC8873. Back when I lived in rural Midwest about 10 years ago, I lived in a house right off the highway. The house was right between one town and another, almost right on the county line. Our house had a big circle driveway. If you drove in the driveway, you'd be going straight towards our barn. If you curved right, you could pull into our garage. If you went past the garage, you could circle around in front of the house and pull back out the way you started. In front of the house and pull back out to where you started. Our house had two large double doors in the front, which we rarely used. We used the door inside the garage. One night, it was very late, my doorbell rang. My husband, my 3-year-old daughter, and I were all asleep. It woke me up, and I thought maybe I was dreaming. It rang again. I woke my husband up. He thought I was hearing things until it rang yet again. It was very dark outside, but we have a dusk to dawn light, so most of the driveway is pretty lit up. Unfortunately, You can't really see the front door unless you open the door and look out. You can open just one at a time, but you can open them both by using two latches, like things that are in the top and the bottom and one of the doors. My husband gets up and I follow him. He decides he is going to open the door. I want to call the cops, but because we live on the county line, we know it's going to be an awful while before any of them get there. He opens the door to a girl, maybe early 20s. She looked normal except for the fact that she was just standing at my door in the middle of the night. I looked past her and her car is pulled into my driveway just off the road. Not up to the house, not around the circle. She says she needs to use the phone. She says her car battery just died or something. She's not sure, but she can't get it to start. I told my husband, no fucking way. This is how horror movies start, and we offered to call the cops, which would be the county sheriff. She asks over and over, but I'm not letting her in. We tell her we will call, and she kind of stomps off. We watch her walk back to the car, maybe 50 feet away. I'm a bad judge for distance, sorry. I can see her car, I can see her. I call the cops. They say they will be there as soon as they can, about 15 minutes. They don't sound very concerned, and at this point, I'm not really either. I mean, it's just a girl. She probably does just have a dead battery. She opens the trunk, no light comes on. She rummages around in the trunk and then the driver's side door opens. Out steps a guy. Then the back passenger door opens. Out steps one more guy. They're all rummaging around in the trunk. No light on. I can't hear anything. I can't hear them talking. I can't tell what they're doing. They all just get back in the car. Now at this point, maybe 5 minutes have gone by, and I'm silently praying that the sheriff puts his foot onto that gas pedal and he gets there as quickly as he can. I know it's going to be another 10 minutes or so. They just sit there in the car, lights off, not moving. I can't see them when they're in the car, but I know they're in there. I know they didn't get out of the car and walk past the house because they have to walk right under the dusk to dawn light. I would have seen them. I think I see the driver light a smoke. That part I'm not 100% sure about. Then I see someone walk towards the car from the right, coming from the direction of the barn. It's a man. I have no idea who this man is. We don't have a neighbor for at least a mile, and he's coming from the back of my property, which ends in a creek. He walks on the dusk to dawn light straight to the car. He doesn't look at the house. He just walks to the car and gets in the back. The car starts up, and they slowly back out of my driveway and head north. The cops arrive about 10 minutes later, and at this point I'm freaking out. They searched around, but they can't find anything. Asked us if we got the license plate, but they were parked so far away. Tell us to call if they come back. Sure, buddy. Thanks. My husband goes and gets his shotgun from the shop on our property, and we try to go back to sleep. They never came back. I don't know what those people were. I don't know who those people were, and I don't know what they wanted. Creepy people in a car without a dead battery. Let's never, ever meet again. Oof. And that's why they tell you, do not just let a girl into your house. That is how a lot of people are getting in now. They'll say that they need something, and then friggin' will let a bunch of guys in, and then you're in trouble. It's best just to call the cops and keep them outside. It's safer for you. And yeah, no, there's been recently another video where a girl was demanding to come in and they didn't let her in, and cops showed up and she was hiding from the cops. And then, you know, if you need help, you would have probably came out from, get the help from the cops. You gotta be careful out there, sadly. Alright. Good evening, evil outcasts. Welcome. Alright, so I will find another glitch in the matrix. Just give me a moment, guys. There we go. Alright. Here's one I'll never read on my channel because it's too short. I'll read a couple really short ones. Glitch or Time Slip by Affectionate Fan 5162. I slept in this morning, Saturday, but my daughter had to be at work early. I walked out and noticed her keys hanging in their usual spot and see her car in the driveway, and I rushed to her room to get her up. However, she was not there. I then went back out to the front room to see that her keys and cars were gone. This all happened in the span of about 30 seconds. I called her and asked her if she'd been late, and she said no, she'd been there for hours. She thinks I'm off my head, and honestly, I feel like I am, but I know what I saw. Old ham radio sound and foreign voice talking in ear by Nifrin Stan Gigi. I know it sounds so dumb, but this just happened while I was watching TV and I don't know what to make of it. It wasn't the TV, it wasn't any of the other noises, it was in my ear. A very clear click and transmission noise, and then a man speaking in a foreign voice for a few seconds, and then the same hiss noise and click and gone. I'm so shocked. My wife looked over like I was nuts and told me, and I told her and she said, put it on Reddit, someone else might have had it. So, here I am. Honestly, it was so clear. It wasn't tinny, or anything like that, it wasn't like tinnitus or anything like that. It literally had a hearing test last a little while ago, and everything is perfect for my age, so I've got no problems. There you go. 2 really short ones. Don't forget to vote for what stories you'd like me to read. I'll read this one too. Almost hit a woman, but she moved by SMB 1988. I was driving down the road earlier today, going approximately 40 miles per hour. A woman was walking across the front of the lawn towards her mailbox. I thought she was going to the mailbox, but instead she steps right out in front of my car. I hit her before my foot could even move to the brake, but there was no thump. Instead, at that moment of impact, she disappeared and reappeared about 10 feet back on her lawn again, still walking towards said mailbox. It was the craziest thing I have ever experienced. I'm glad she's alive, but I don't understand what just happened. She legged? Maybe she legged. Oh yes, I know exactly what you vote for, Sydney. You're the first one to vote. It's kind of easy to figure out. Seems like my voice is clearing up a little bit. Ooh, I love Chinese. Ugh. It always seems to hit like that sweet spot. I don't know what it is about it. Okay. Here's another glitch and then I'll do another creepy encounter. you ever had something vanish right next to you with nigh impossible circumstances? By Venny D23. I just bought a new mouse for myself today since it's Black Friday. I go home and open it and see a couple pages of instructions and a cloth to clean it and a sheet of stickers to put on the mouse as a protective layer. I was in a game, so I placed the stickers to my side because I was going to put them on after to see how it felt, and then I looked and it was gone. Everything but the sheet of stickers is there. I checked the floor, under the couch, next to me, under the table, and it's just gone. I don't expect everyone here to believe it, but it's literally ceased to exist, and this has happened inside my car many times where things have dropped under my seat and even a detailer said it isn't there. I feel like I'm going crazy. I completely get that. Actually, funny enough, so one of my ex-coworkers, she had a vape and she had wanted to quit, so I actually literally took it out of her hand and put it in my back seat. To this day, I cannot find that vape. My car has eaten said vape. We looked through that car top to bottom, and to be fair, it was black. But it's poofed. Like we've looked, and I'm like, well, if I ever find it again, I guess I'll give it back to you, because I was gonna give it back to her a couple days later. I knew she really wanted to quit, and she hasn't touched it since, so that's been really awesome. But I mean, they're still worth money to sell, and I would love to give it back to her, but I think my car ate it. So sorry, I guess my car was hungry. Weird stuff happens sometimes. Alright, we'll go with a creepy encounter. Surrounded by time-traveling Taylor. For context, I live in a pretty run-down part of my city. This happened to me a few months ago, back in July, so quite a few months ago now. I was invited to my friend's house for dinner. After I ate and watched a movie with him, I had to go home as it was pretty late. I then realized I didn't have enough for a ride home, and I was too embarrassed to borrow any money from him. No worries, I live only a few minutes from his house. The rain wasn't that bad, and I had my headphones so I could listen to tunes as I walked my broke-ass home. And I had my headphones so I could listen to tunes. Let's try that one more time. No worries. I lived only a few minutes from his house. The rain wasn't that bad, and I had my headphones so I could listen to tunes as I walked my broke-ass home. So I walked empty roads except for a few cars passing by occasion. It was comforting. I love these types of walks. Very calming and all. Then suddenly 2 dudes came out of a building behind me. They tried to huddle close under my umbrella. Sure, seems harmless, but they're older than me and seemed friendly. I started to make small talk, then that slowly increased to very personal questions about my home life. I've never seen these guys around town before, so I gave them a fake name, fake hobbies, fake families, so I wouldn't get fucked over if they were some bizarre new scam method. Hey, name. Do you think your mother would miss you if you went missing? Guy asked me. Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I replied, and they all start acting buddy-buddy with me, laughing, and I didn't take it as a joke. Call me a pussy, but they said that very casually. It fucked me up. Them saying that so casually was pretty fucked up. I picked up the pace they followed. Now I ain't about to give these guys a tour of my house, and they started to get creepy with the questions. I got off course and started to go into the convenience store that was close by, and I knew had people in it. Why don't you invite us over to your house for a cup of coffee? The dude who I met a few minutes ago, who I barely know, now wants to come over to my house. I was shaken at this point. The whole time we were talking, I only took a short glance at them. I I mustered up the courage and turned to my left so I could identify him. The dude's face was different. He looked high, drunk. Turned to the right, he smirked, then his face dropped, and then he tried to pull out something from his pocket. Fuck that. I swiftly closed my umbrella and ran. I heard them behind me. I ran harder. I looked back and they were gaining on me, and I tripped, slipped, and I got up. And each time that I tripped and slipped, I got up. I couldn't feel the muscles in my legs after a while. I ran in and out of alleys to confuse them and lose them. The rain started to pour harder, and I hid behind a dumpster. I heard them calling my fake name, so I stayed put for a while. Then I came out, and after I was sure they had given up on the chase, I got to the store after walking for a bit, got into the bathroom and looked at myself. Threw up in there from adrenaline, maybe because I ran like hell. Sorry for that. I swear the dinner was actually good. I had some cuts and bruises, most notably a huge gash on my shirt. I realized that the dude probably had a knife and must have tried to slash at me while I was hauling ass. Did what I should have done and called my friend to drive me home. He thought I got fucked up at the party or had some sort of street brawl. I got home drenched and had the longest shower after that. I never told anyone this story, well, up until now. I threw away that shirt, my headphones got destroyed, and a small price to pay escaping, I guess. I hope they were just drunk or high, or they were just legit committing, or if they were legit just going to commit a felony on me. I hope I was the first and last attempt. Yes, don't. Oh. Yeah, no. Yes, it actually has been 12 months, Evil Outcast, that you've been a member for. I know, it does not feel that long, but I actually got my monetization in October of last year, so, and you were my first member, so yeah, it's been a year, dude. Yeah, people asking you if someone's gonna miss you, or if you have someone waiting for you, if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or any of that shit, those are just, like, red flags to me now. Like, no, don't do any of that stuff. It is, yeah, no. I don't have words. Very smart, though. Just running. Just friggin' run. All the stuff's replaceable. You aren't. I always say that. You're replaceable. You're not replaceable. Everything you own is replaceable. I'll do one more paranormal story, and then I'll do another glitch. How long is this one? Come on. Yeah, it's not that one. Okay. It's all good, Evil Outcast. It's just, I know you've been going through some rough times too. It's been awesome to see, like, all that. Also, I would have kicked the creepy person across. I mean, fair. But when there comes to be a knife, running probably was the best option that they had. Very quickly, unless you, of course, know what you're actually doing, a knife gets dangerous pretty darn quickly. 3 knocks and lady repeatedly screaming by Rando Cuckoo. Yeah, not sure about that. First time posting here, and this is not my only paranormal experience, just the most recent. One on November the 16th of 2023 at 3:26 a.m. in Toronto, Canada. Let's try that again. First time posting here, and this is not my only paranormal experience, just the most recent. On November 16th of 2023, around 3:26 a.m. in Toronto, Canada, I woke up and heard a lady on the street just yelling, "Please help me," on repeat. And I'm on around the 12th floor, so sounds was coming from down the street. I initially didn't think much of it, but from the moment I woke up, I already felt something wasn't quite right. And within 5 seconds of me getting up, I heard 3 knocks on my wall, and that sent chills down my spine. At that point, I got scared and knew something is definitely not right with all this. My thought process was that I wanted to help the lady maybe, but I feel like it's more than an invitational call. If I were to go out on my balcony and look, I feel like I might accidentally fall from the spiritual trap. But then, what if she actually did need help, and am I a bad slash scaredy cat and just ignoring a person in need? So I just waited and listened. She didn't say anything else, just repeated and repeated, "Please help me." Another thought I had was, if she really needed help, there are several condos with security guards in the lobby looking out, and she would be able to ask them to call the cops. I know she's not in danger, because if she was in danger of getting attacked, she would be entering another one of the condos to hide and get a security guard to help her quickly. The most interesting thing, which reinforced my thought of being paranormal, besides of course the 3 knocks, was that when I focused on the screaming, I could hear the screams of a cat's meowing. And at that point, I just prayed for protection, going on Google for the Lord's Prayer and YouTube for other prayers, asking God and Jesus to protect my space and my soul. That made me feel better, but the screams are still going. Around about 10 to 15 minutes, her screams start to finally fade. So I just went back to sleep. I know a lot of people will be thinking that I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep. For me, I can, because this is not the first time I've dealt with paranormal. I used to need the nightlight or someone there to watch me sleep when I was a kid. But after seeing ghosts for the first time, then I was actually able to sleep without the nightlight, which is kind of in the reverse. I could go back to sleep because my faith is strong. Mind you, I'm still scared. But I experienced this type of evil shit before, and God and the Bible prayer will help me with that as well. So I felt like it was fine for the time. One last interesting thing the night was my dream after. There were no ghosts or demons in the dream. It was just I was in my condo with a lot of clutter. In the dream, I quickly realized it was in a dream and wanted to wake up, but I couldn't. I had to put a lot of focus and energy to wake back up. It was around 4:30 a.m. at this point. From my Chinese background, I knew when someone calls your name at night and don't answer it. Also, other Western paranormal shows and stories, I understand that 3 knocks are a request to enter your spiritual space. I don't know what I did to ever cause this to happen. I was not watching horror or doing some witchy shit or using a Ouija board. I wasn't even thinking about the paranormal. The only thing I can think of is this happened to my mom. Is in China right now, and she loves going to spiritualists and temples and getting readings and talismans. I hope she's not the one that caused this, but I will ask her what she did when she gets back and what she's exactly doing on the November 15th and 16th. Just wanted to share my experience and ask anyone who has experienced 3 knocks, what do you do or not do after? Maybe I'm overthinking this and it's nothing, or maybe it's another paranormal experience. Yeah. Alright, have a good one, General. Alright, let's find another glitch story. Also, that, to my knowledge, if you're paranormally, if you believe in the paranormal and, you're sensitive, you automatically start, luring things to you just because you can see and hear them. I mean, logically speaking, if you were talking to people and you knew that only certain people could hear you, you go towards the people who could hear you. So, bubbles on my wall disappear before my eyes as I touch them. By Aggressive Flan 4342. I was standing on my staircase, a few steps up, looking down at the railing, talking to my husband sitting in the living room below me. All of a sudden, I noticed bubbles in the paint above my husband's head, where the wall met the ceiling. I stopped our conversation and asked my husband if he saw it too, and he did. It looked like a water leak when the water is dripping behind the paint and making the paint bubble out from the wall. This has happened to us in another location in the house before, so I came down the steps and stood on one of the end tables to check it out. It was a sort of shadowed. Hold on one sec. It was a sort of shadowed, so I shined my phone flashlight on the spot, and it was harder to see, so I moved the flashlight off of it and could see it again. At this point I thought, oh, maybe it's a spider web and the light just hitting it so funny, so I shined the flashlight back over the spot and reached my hand up and swiped my finger across it, and it was just gone. Nothing was there. My finger didn't touch anything. There was no spider web. There was no bubble that popped or pushed back in. The wall looked completely normal. My husband looked up from the couch below and said he saw it the whole time until I swiped my finger across it, and he said it disappeared at that moment too. Thank God he saw it happen, or I really would have think I was going crazy. But now I've just got the heebie-jeebies. Oof. You you can seal your room, Evil Outcast, if you basically will it. It's hard to explain exactly how you do that. I'm not the best for it. And I just know that I did it to my bedroom when I was younger. I willed nothing to be allowed to be in it anymore. So apparently it is very cold where Sydney is, and her heater isn't working good. Oh, that sucks. Winter sucks. I hate winter. Winter is my least favorite time of year. Alright. Let's go with another glitch, because the glitches are still winning the battle. One moment. Sorry, if I feel like I need a cough, I just mute my mic real quick for you guys. My key disappeared by I'm Mila Incobelli. Sorry, that one's a weird name. A while ago I was walking my dog, and when I was almost back, I realized I didn't have my keys with me. I looked all over myself, emptying every pocket, pat everything down 5 times, and I really didn't have my keys. I was in a relatively good mood, so I just gave up and waited for my blank, whom I knew would be home in 20 minutes, to open the door for us. After After petting my confused dog for a while, he didn't understand why we're staying in the cold instead of going in, and checked my phone multiple times to see how much time has passed. My blank finally got home. It was a normal interaction. The dog was happy Blank was back, and I greeted and gave Blank a hug, and then Blank opened the door for us. And yes, it really does have a blank spot there. But when we were in the garden, we took the back door. I saw that I had my keys in my hand. I was so confused. I had no idea how they ended up there, and how I had never realized it. My dog was also very calm all of a sudden. Instead of exited, like seconds before. I then noticed that Blank wasn't there. He probably never was. I let myself in. Bruh. That is a weird glitch. Woo! Just stories, marine stories. Yeah, luckily my internet hasn't gone down, which is good. But yeah, internet does stupid stuff like that sometimes, where it just does a glitch. Okay, I'm gonna read a few more and then I'll call it for the night. Live reading does take a little more out of me. Hello, Duchess of Darkness. Welcome. I'll read... Oh, we got paranormal. Alright, I'll read another paranormal, a creepy encounter, and then a glitch, and then we'll end it. So, let me go to my paranormals. We'll go with this one. My girlfriend saw my uncle's death by Soggy Toast from... Sorry. My girlfriend saw my uncle's death by Soggy Toast from the Tub. Sorry, I realized what it said and laughed. This always struck me as being a bit weird, and I'm still not quite sure what to think of it. I met my girlfriend, female 22, online 2 years ago. We live 4 hours apart and haven't met at the time. We had been talking for a couple weeks at this point, and I had mentioned my uncle to her. He had been a huge part of my life, and he stepped in as my father figure for me before I had to move far away from him at 9 years old. When I was in my teens, my uncle unfortunately passed away. His death had greatly affected me, and I'll be honest, I'm not really over it. I never told my girlfriend exactly how he died. I just let them know he had passed away and that I missed him and have some regrets that I didn't contact him more. My girlfriend had never met my uncle, as they've never been in the same state, and I had never even shown my girlfriend a picture of him as well. Well, one really nice day I decided to walk to work. While I was walking, I was speaking with my girlfriend over the phone. When it seemed a bit out of nowhere, my girlfriend asked me what my uncle looked like. I was a bit perplexed, but described my uncle to my girlfriend, who oddly enough was giving me details of what he looked like. My uncle and I did not look alike at all. Before I could get to those details, then the really odd question was asked. They asked if I'd be willing to share how my uncle died. I agreed to share the story with them, as it was a bit tragic and upsetting. I won't go over it all in the details here, as it's very personal. I apologize, but I don't want to put his death out there on the internet, and I completely get that. He had an accident that was truly heart-wrenching. As I told my girlfriend the story, they began giving me details on everything that happened. I was shocked and a little upset. My girlfriend was able to practically tell me how my uncle died and the details about where he was when it happened. I didn't know what to say, but my girlfriend then told me. I had a dream and had seen this all happen. I'm not sure how that happened. I don't know that my uncle sometimes appears. I do know that my uncle sometimes appears in dreams and checks up on us. My mom had told me he had appeared in her dream and told her she needed to wake up so she'd be ready to take me to school in the morning before it was too late. He appeared in my dream as well. He appears in my dreams as well with his iconic laugh and checking up on me. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if he shared that information with my girlfriend, and I'm not sure why he shared that information with my girlfriend and why his death, if he did, or if it's beyond that. It's still something I think about 2 years later with my girlfriend. Yeah, that is weird, actually. Alright, we'll do a creepy encounter. Yeah, that is bizarre that he kind of just appeared to her without context. Like, unless it's so maybe he could appear in the dream again and he believe her? I don't know. That's weird. God, I really want my voice to be fully back. Okay, second to last story. Road rage car followed me home by Yes Goman 9. This literally just happened to me an hour ago when I'm driving back home. When I was driving back from home, This literally just happened to me an hour ago as I'm driving back home from work. As I was in an intersection not too far from my house, there was a car from the opposite side of the road turning into where I was going, and we almost hit each other. We both stopped on time, and it was no biggie. But the guy in the car is noticeably yelling at me from inside his car, giving me the middle finger. Alright, so I let him go ahead, and I thought that would be the end of the road rage for tonight. Boy, was I wrong. Immediately after I let this guy through, behind him was a car turning very fast, so I accelerated and quickly got in front of him. Not out of ego or anything, I just thought I was considered the position of my car, and not out of ego or anything, I just thought that considering the position of my car in the turning lane, it's likely that the dumbass would hit me. Right afterwards, this guy is obviously pissed off and starts flicking his extremely bright lights at me for minutes straight. It was annoying as shit, considering something brighter than the goddamn sun is shining at me for a minute. You can tell it's fucking hard to navigate at night like that. So I said to myself, 2 cars can play at that game, fucker. And I slowed down to 20 miles an hour from 50 for a minute or so. Still flickering his lights, but not so much at that point. At this point, I was close to home and turned into my subdivision, thinking the whole saga would end with that. But holy fuck, this guy follows me into the maze of a neighborhood, and I get near my house and he's still following me. I freaked the fuck out and was wondering, should I just park in my driveway and he'll go away, or should I just go into a random neighborhood and lose him there? So as soon as I passed my house, I decided to go right past it and into another neighborhood a couple minutes away, and he follows me exactly to there. At this point, I left the neighborhood and just fucking jumped on my gas pedal and sped down the road and made a random right turn. At this point, he's still following me, but it's a red light for him, so thankfully he has to stop. And after that, I lost him. Honestly, this was a scary experience for me, considering my subdivision isn't too far from a very dangerous hood where gunshots can be heard often. Who knows if I would have stopped my car, maybe the guy would have got a gun out and shot me. It's just freaking creepy how this road rage asshole earlier followed me to my house in an obvious attempt to scare me. Yeah, if you're being followed, never stop at your house. You never know. I've been noticing lately with some stuff that road rage seems to be on the upswing. Like, it's getting worse, I swear. But yeah, it's always best. Do not pull into a driveway. Just keep driving until you lose them. And worst comes to worst, go to a friggin' police station. Do not give the ability to corner you or keep you somewhere. And if you can lose them at a red light, that's always great too. My personal candy disappeared by BDSM 25. I'm not kidding, that's their name. I'm quite shooketh about this because I have no idea how this happened, and I hope I'm not alone. Yesterday I was sitting at a table playing a board game. My mouth was a little dry, so I reached in my bag and grabbed my Pez dispenser that was full of Pez, minus like 2 Pez's. The first 3 broke at the point of the dispenser, not allowing it to work, so I sit there and get to the broken ones out of the top, showing my friend beside me. Then continue to fix it. So it was about 6 to 8 that aren't broken, and then pop one out to my mouth, then pop another to my mouth. I went for a third, and the candy and the Pez disappeared. The candy in the Pez dispenser was gone. My friend beside me saw me open the Pez, and his eyes got wide. He noticed the candy disappeared as well. I told him I didn't understand what just happened. The Pez candy was never found. Anyone else can relate? Getting to sleep was crazy after something so minuscule like that happened to me. By the way, I didn't know to leave the Pez on the table to go. By the way, no, I didn't leave the Pez on the table to use the restroom or anything. It was sitting in front of me the entire time. All this happened in like 5 to 10 minute span. The universe wants your candy, man. They just ate your candy. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Alright. I'm gonna grab one last glitch. And that will be it. I was gonna go for something a little bit longer. Remember, don't let the universe eat your Pez. It's your Pez. Self-duplicating fragrance oil glitch by Zesty Mort. This happened in my 30 male apartment. I live alone yesterday, the 22nd, so 3 days ago. Starting in the early afternoon during my lunch. Okay, so this happened to me, 30 male, in my apartment, and I live alone yesterday on the 22nd, starting the early afternoon during my lunch. I'll be as brief as possible. I make my own spray air freshener, not like Febreze, because I like my home to smell good and can make scents not typically found in the store like Walmart or Target. I have a modest variety of different fragrance oil scents: vanilla, cinnamon, teak, etc. I held it in a 20-ounce bottle, and then I use it to switch things up when I get tired of any particular smell. The recipe for the air freshener spray is pretty simple. Take a dollar store spray bottle, add about 3 parts cleaning alcohol, distilled water, or vodka to 1 part fragrance oil of your choice. Tap water will go rancid. Shake, and it's ready to spray. Because tap water has stuff in it. While distilled water is literally just H2O. I decided to make a new batch of spray, cinnamon, in my kitchen. I thought I thoroughly cleaned out the spray bottle with soap and hot water in the sink, and then walked to my closet to grab my cinnamon fragrance oil and alcohol. When I pick up the fragrance bottle, it's 3/4 empty. Not surprising, since I use this fragrance often and the amount remaining felt about right. No issue so far, and then walk about 20 feet back to the kitchen to continue making the batch. I decided to kill the fragrance bottle since it's almost gone anyways, so I pour the entire container into the neck of the spray bottle. I shook the fragrance liquid to the last drop since the fragrance oil is relatively expensive, about $20 per bottle, and then threw the empty container into the trash bin. I add the alcohol into the spray bottle to complete the mixture. Screwed in the spray nozzle on, and then I have a lovely new bottle of fragrance that I can then spray around my home. The glitch. Lounging in my living room about 5 minutes later, I was thirsty and walked from my couch to the kitchen to get a glass of water when I noticed a large plastic cup from my NutriBullet next to the sink, and I did not remember leaving it out. In the cup, I noticed about half an inch of viscous, oily, slightly goldenish yellow liquid that did not look like anything I would drink or have in my fridge. Hold on one sec. I was immediately puzzled and interestingly instinctively smelled it to try to identify the strange liquid. To my shock and alarm, it was cinnamon fragrance oil. Consequently, the volume oil was virtually identical to the amount I had used in my mixture. Without thinking, I immediately dumped the liquid down the drain and began to rinse out the NutriBullet cup, only to realize the oil and scent had seeped in so deep to the plastic and was coating the interior that I wouldn't be able to save the cup, and decided to go and toss it into the trash to avoid risking ingesting fragrance oil. All kinds of alarm bells were going off in my head at this point. I feel like I'm going insane. Not only did I not pour fragrance oil into a cup I frequently drink from, sometimes I would, something I would never do, but I distinctly remember the exact sequence and I described above, with the cleaning out the spray bottle in preparation for the new batch, and used all the cinnamon fragrance oil I owned in said batch. The entire process took like 3 to 4 minutes at the most, and I did it all in one linear sequence. A while later, still thoroughly puzzled and questioning my sanity, I went back to the kitchen and pulled out the NutriBullet cup to inspect it again. The unmistakable smell of cinnamon fragrance oil was and is still there. Inexplicably, there has indeed been fragrance oil. Inexplicably, there indeed had been fragrance oil in said drinking cup. I know this is relatively mundane glitch for the sub, but I have no idea how fragrance oil, the no longer had because I had just used the last of it, could have possibly materialized in a drinking cup on my counter. I called my brother and told me to check for carbon monoxide in my apartment. I don't know what's real anymore. Help? Double check that there is fragrance oil into the thing you made. Would be my first step. Enjoy your food, Cindy. Duchess of Darkness. Sometimes YouTube likes to unsubscribe people from people. I have known it has happened to me because I know I have subscribed to someone and went back to their channel and have been unsubscribed when I distinctly remember subscribing. Alright, well, I hope you guys all enjoyed the stories. Sorry for the muting the mic and all that stuff. I'm trying not to cough into the mic as much as possible. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the live stream. I should be live Friday again. Life got in the way yesterday and I could not go live. So, yeah. So, not sure what I'm going to be doing next week. It might be live reading again. because I don't have any guests lined up. But if you're a narrator and would like to be a guest on this, I'm always looking for guests. So I hope you guys have a good day and the rest of, I hope you have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, guys.